to a man.
If your boyfriend wants to get a BBL, don't.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get a BBL, get a BBL. Hi everyone, and welcome to Dorm Room Ramblings, episode 11. I'm Carly Koon, podcast editor.
I'm Genesis Lopez, podcast producer.
And this is Dorm Room Ramblings
number 11, right?
Vaginal insecurity, women's issues, pink tax, and porn.
Yes, happy National Women's Day. It's today, right?
Yeah, it's today. It won't be today for when you watch this,
yeah,
but...
we're filming this on National Women's Day. Very on theme.
March 8th.
Yes, ma'am. And I think it's the month too, right?
Yeah, it's Women's History Month. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's why I kind of felt inspired to do this episode, because I feel like these are things we don't talk enough about. Mm-hmm. And I think it's especially prominent for college-aged women, because this is really the time where we, figure ourselves out, both in terms of emotions, career paths, and sexually.
Yeah, the age of exploration.
Yeah. So let's get on into it.
Let's get started.
I mean, I've written a paper about this. I've done a lot of research, but is this, the first time that you've really, read into things like the pink tax and stuff like that?
Yeah, honestly, I was reading through your paper, and a lot of this information was kind of eye-opening. Whoa, I never even knew this much about history. You kind of take it for granted in the time we're in nowadays, what women had to go through to have this much liberation. Mm-hmm. And I feel like now we're still fighting for that liberation,
Of course. If you just look at Texas alone, we're going through another battle regarding our physical autonomy. And that'll probably continue well into the future for our children and our grandchildren. But, compared to what it used to be, we've definitely made strides. We can have our own properties. We can have credit cards in our own names. We have little victories here and there, but I still feel like there are big issues regarding our rights.
I agree. We can vote. That's cool.
But if you get an abortion, it's more of it's a big deal crime. So if you get an abortion, you can lose your right to vote.
Really?
It's a felony. That's
crazy. Oh, I knew it was against the law and stuff, but I didn't know they revoked.
Well, people with felonies can't vote.
Oh, this is new to me.
So
sorry.
I've been thinking that if we bust a lot of women who get abortions, and if we typically look at the rates, people that are getting abortions are younger women, typically not the richest people in the world. Sometimes they don't even have the financial capability to have a child, and that's why they have to get an abortion. And I'm like, I want you to silence us.
Yeah. That's interesting. They don't even want you to have a say in anything. You broke the rules. You don't have a right to make decisions anymore.
And that's a bigger issue in general, but I know there are plenty of people who think that people who have gone to prison and have had felonies on their records deserve a vote just as much as someone who doesn't have a felony, and I would totally agree.
Yeah.
But I guess we're already off topic a little bit.
Oops,
but it is a female issue.
Yeah,
and
most definitely.
Abortion centers around what we're going to be talking about for the next 30-40 minutes.
Women's bodies.
The vagina, the uterus.
My gosh. You just said the V word.
The V word. I feel like we need to say it more. Have you seen the commercials about things for women's pH or women's poop, and they're have you seen the commercial where they're where they won't say the word poop and then they won't say the word vagina?
No.
Yeah, it's a whole joke, and it's narrated by a man, and I'm shut up,
please.
Gosh.
Stop letting men narrate women's stuff. Have any say on anything women, please,
because they're oh, you mean my and then he cuts them off with another P word. And I'm like, girl, we can't even talk about poop, and everyone does that. Everyone has a poop.
Yeah. Or
everyone has a poop inside them right now.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm we can't even say that. How do you expect us to be able to talk about the vagina on live television? I don't know.
Did you ever hear in school, too, growing up, oh, girls don't poop? Like, that was so forbidden to talk about.
Girls
like,
don't fart.
It just magically
Girls don't
disappears.
have any bodily function.
Yeah.
I mean, it sets girls up to be insecure about everything that's practically normal. Yeah, because then when they start becoming sexually active, they're going to be insecure about discharge in their underwear, and they're going to be insecure about smell and taste and da-da-da-da-da. And then men will maybe by the grace of God, they will wash their genitalia. But then, and we have to work with that. And then, but it's like, you have to douche. You have to do this. Make sure you go get a Brazilian wax with a stranger that you've never seen before. You can get your legs up over your head. You have to do all of this and this and this and this and this. Oh. And guys don't even care, really, at the end of the day. They don't appreciate it. To
them, it's just like, you're supposed to look like that. You're supposed to be perfect.
If you think about how much money women spend in general just on waxing or their razors, or women have to use exfoliants and then aftercare if they do choose to shave themselves, it's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot.
Smelling good, your lotions, your oils, we go in on maintenance and self-care. And that's crazy. We were actually talking about that in my history class, how the advertising industry started in the 1900s here in America. They basically, we were talking about this earlier, they pride on women's insecurities. Women were 60% of the target market for advertising. And that's actually how they started getting women to shave, because the razors were just for men's beards and stuff. So they were like, how do we market razors to women? And so they were making these ads about
Did you
women
see
being
the vintage ones I sent you?
shaving.
The newspaper style ads, completely
No, I didn't get a chance. I'm sorry.
Those are insane.
Really?
I'll pull one up.
Yeah.
And I'll read it while you keep talking about the ads. Because they are insane.
We saw some vintage. I think it started with Gillette. That was one of the first. I don't know if I said that right. Gillette. Yeah, the first razor companies. But they were basically targeting women. Something about shaving your legs or being smooth. That was the new thing. Your armpits. How's a guy gonna date you or want to take you out if you're hairy and all this stuff? And that just basically went on a roll with mouthwash and all this stuff.
Yeah, your husband's gonna leave you if you continue to be ugly.
If you're hairy, if you smell.
Yeah, this one's really simple. Remember, your hair collects unpleasant odors.
That's insane.
And then that's it. And that's from the 1930s. But then it actually gets worse. They advertise things for chin reducers, which I guess it's still popular now because you'll see little videos on TikTok where it's
oh yeah, how to
ooh, do the little scraper thing. Yeah, the gua sha. And I'm like, huh?
And they have Botox now too, to define your chin or pull your chin back, your skin back.
This one's really good. This one's my personal favorite. I'll probably put little clips up so everyone can see if they're watching on YouTube. But this one is called Another Love Match Shipwrecked on the Dangerous Reef of Half-Truths About Feminine Hygiene. Lysol has prevented many such tragedies. Lysol disinfectant was sold as a douche in the 30s.
No.
Yep.
Lysol, the thing that you wipe your kitchen counters with and kill bacteria and germs with.
Yes. She had unspeakable hygiene problems, and her husband left her in this ad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we've been at
Target for a while.
It's pretty bad. It's basically just selling shame at the end of the day. If you have a small insecurity, there's going to be an ad somewhere that's hey, I can fix that.
Prying on it, yeah. Here's what we made to help you combat that.
I know, but I'm Lysol. If we look at the products we have now, they're not any better. Summer's Eve. And they are also bad about, the advertisements. They'll put, elephants in the showers and, all this stuff. And I'm why are we comparing all these things?
Yep.
It's, kind of disgusting. And then you pay $20 to use a douche, and you're not even supposed to put anything up there.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. You're not supposed to.
If someone doesn't know that's listening, now you know. The vagina is self-cleaning.
All you need is a little warm water soap, natural, nothing like
nothing
specific.
Scented.
Yes,
nothing
no fragrances.
Scented. You can clean outside, but you never want to put soap
Any
or a douche or
in.
anything inside. Inside of yourself, which is the actual vagina, by the way. The outside is just like the labia, majora, and minora, but the inside is your actual vagina, and she doesn't need any help.
Yeah.
She sees it through. That's why you have discharge. It's just simply cleaning itself out. Whenever you have discharge, it means that your vagina is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing every single day for the rest of your life. And, like, this is one thing that I didn't know before I saw it on TikTok, which was, like, a couple years ago. But I saw the whole thing about, like, your pH from your discharge can be acidic or basic or whatever, whichever one it is, and it can, like, bleach your underwear. I didn't know that.
I did not know that either. I learned that from reading your paper, actually.
And I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But that means it's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. But I don't know.
Did you think discharge before was abnormal, or what do you mean?
No, I think, like, I had pretty good education from my mom. Like, I think she was always pretty open with me. And, like, we have open communication even now that I'm an adult. Like, I could always come to her if I had a problem. But I never knew about that it could change the color of, like, your underwear.
Me neither. I didn't know it was acidic or that it could bleach your underwear.
And I'll be open. It's happened to me before. I don't care. I'll say it on the Texas State podcast.
On
like,
Dorm Room Rambling.
I've had discharge that has bleached my underwear. And it's like once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
But I'm like, nor. This one was cured. Nor.
Gotta get rid of her now. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever paid attention to that. I mean, I notice, like, when I have discharge and stuff, like, if anything's ever off. But I don't think I've ever paid attention, like, if it bleaches it. That's interesting. Yeah. I'm about to go home and look through all my underwear. You're looking at your underwear like, which one's bleached?
Who did this?
Who did this? Who did this?
But it's crazy. Like, no one ever talks about it.
Nope.
And no one ever emphasizes that it's self-cleaning. You don't learn it in sex ed. You don't hear about it.
They don't teach you a lot in school.
Especially about, like, hygiene.
Yep.
And then instead you get, like, hygiene tips from, like, ads that are just trying to profit off of you feeling insecure about something. And it's not even what's scientifically right. And I find that really interesting. Like, I don't know, like, the self-waxing kits, like, that people sell that are, like, all natural. These are made with honey. These are, like, sugar scrubs and da-da-da-da.
Ooh.
I'm like, okay. Especially if it's from a small business run by women. I'm like,
sounds legit.
Okay. Like, I'll accept that, I guess.
But
guess. When it's a big company and now they're just suddenly, like, going down a path for women's hygiene, I'm like, shut up. Summer's Eve, I have beef with her. I do not care.
Yeah, I really thought,
I hate her.
Like, entering puberty and stuff, like, 14, 15, I really thought, like, you needed that to smell good. And then my mom was like, no, you're not supposed to put anything near it. It will throw off your balance and blah, blah, blah. Like, she, thank God for her, because she did not let me buy any of that stuff growing up.
Same, yeah, I've never douched. I've never put anything in there.
Yep.
I never planned to.
All natural, baby.
I don't know. I find it really interesting. And, I mean, the best thing for your vagina is water. Drinking water, using water if you want to clean yourself in the shower. Water.
Water's the answer.
Drinking a bunch of water will help with your pH.
Yep.
I mean, what they say about, like, fruits and vegetables, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not necessarily the fruits and vegetables, it's actually just eating healthy. Like, if you drink a lot of alcohol or if you eat a lot of fast food, like, it throws off your entire body.
Yeah.
And your vagina is part of your body, so it's going to be affected, too. But people like to be like, no, eat pineapple.
Oh, I've heard that so much.
Drink cranberry juice. It's so good for you.
Cleaning.
And I'm like, well, cranberry juice, it's good for your urinary tract.
Yeah, I was going to say they sell, like, cranberry pills and stuff.
It's good for your urinary tract. And for women, ours is shorter, and that's why we get UTIs. Men, theirs goes on for days. But ours is really short. So men don't really get UTIs because their pee shoot is long, and ours is really tiny. So, like, if you go to the river, if you drink too much and you don't pee, if you, partake in sexual activities with anybody, it can just get some bacteria up, and it can climb up really easily.
Yeah, and it's really common, right? To just...
Mm-hmm. Like, you can get it just from using a different soap.
Or sweating, too, right?
Yeah, you can get a UTI from anything, but people always just, like, force it down our throats that it's just from sex.
Yep.
But it can be anything. Like, I was prone to them when I was little, when I was, like, 2. And I was like, I wasn't having sex.
Yeah, you were a baby.
I was having bubble baths, and bubble baths were giving me UTIs.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
No one talks about it.
Yeah. We need to have more conversations like these, or they need to be more normalized.
Mm-hmm. Because another issue, I mean, like, now with the internet, you can access anything you want whenever you want so easily. Like, in the blink of an eye, you can have like 500 million results for one search. So, like, if you just look up "if my vagina," is my vagina da 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 da, and it'll be like, is my vagina normal? Does my vagina smell normal? Does it look normal? What's an innie vagina? Do I have an innie vagina? Do I have an outie vagina? And I'm like, and you know, like, every website is like, your vagina is special. Your vagina is unique to you.
Sacred.
Your vagina is your special little friend. But we're not going to use the word vagina. We're going to use our flower.
Yeah.
Our da-da-da.
Flower.
And I'm like, how about we just teach our children the actual scientific names?
Yeah, why can't it just be normal, like a nose or an
nose,
eyelash, hair,
eyes,
ears,
vagina. I think it would also help so much just in, like, advocating for yourself and understanding when things aren't normal, because sexual assault is such an issue from any age range for a girl. So I feel like give her the tools to understand her body and know what her body parts are called. So if she needs to tell someone and she needs help, she knows what words to use. Personally.
Yep.
We can say vagina.
I agree.
I think a 3-year-old can say vagina.
Yeah.
But I don't know. With porn?
Oh, it's another conversation. Let's get into this.
With porn? I mean,
So toxic. I just want to say
speaking of
that.
young ages, the average age when people watch porn for the first time is 11. So
insane.
I'm sure everyone can look back and think about the first time they've seen a porn video, and it was probably against your will. It was probably a 2 girls, 1 cup.
Oh.
It was. Like, it was all over the place in middle school.
Yeah.
Like, all the little boys on the bus would be like, hey, look at this.
Talk about
look
it.
at this, look at this, look at this. And they don't even know what it is.
It was always like an accident. Like,
They're
it didn't mean to happen. And
like, my mom doesn't want me to watch this, so I'm going to show everyone at school. And I'm like, girl,
on my iPod.
The iPhone 4 was a mistake.
Oh, when people had, like, iPods and iPhones in elementary school, like, what? Why did they give us that much
Boys were, like, watching beheading videos on, like,
those
4chan
were
or whatever. And I'm like,
Gore.com. That was awful.
Omegle.
That was a traumatizing era.
I mean, luckily, Gen Z, when we're parents, I think we'll have a better handling on technology for our children, because I think we know exactly what's going on.
I think,
like, our parents wanted us to be safe, but it's hard to keep someone safe from things that you don't know
are out there.
Yeah,
it was still kind of new.
So new, and, like, we grew up on it.
Yeah,
so, like, we knew all the ins and outs, but they were like, what is chat roulette?
Yeah.
And how do I not have my child on child roulette? Oh, child roulette. Chat roulette. I'm like, well, how would they know everything about Kik?
Yeah.
How would they know everything about Snapchat? I mean, my mom tried her best. Like, I didn't get Instagram until, like, the end of freshman year of high school.
That's good.
Instagram. I didn't get Snapchat until sophomore year, because I was like, everyone has it. This is becoming socially detrimental.
That's amazing that you saw that early on. Like, you were very different.
I was different, and I was left out, and I felt really insecure about my lack of a social media presence. Because, you know, in elementary school and middle school, everyone was getting Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And my mom was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, now Instagram is new. And my mom was like,
no.
And I was like, okay, but, like, Snapchat, everyone uses Snapchat. And she's like, pictures that disappear? No. And I was like, okay.
Your mom, first of all, is amazing. She's my hero.
But I still use Kik, though.
Yeah, you still had the Kik group chat. Oh, Kik was something else, too. I don't know. Hearing that coming from you now, it's interesting, because I feel like there were no... Like, you weren't on it and you still felt that way. I was on it super early. Like, as soon as Instagram came out, I had an iPad. I don't know why my parents gave a 12-year-old an iPad. I was an iPad kid. Oh my gosh, because now that's like a joke, you know?
Yeah.
But back then, I did not realize that. So I was on Instagram at 12 years old, going on 13, just posting random stuff. And then that's like right when I was entering middle school. I remember like nail DIYs were like a big thing. So I would do my nails and post it on there. But I feel like that affects you in a way, because like kind of like the social media episode Rasika and Bailey did, it did affect my self-esteem. I feel like growing up I was like always comparing myself to girls on the internet, or like followers and likes became a thing. Oh yeah,
I still do. I'm like,
yeah,
there's no way you really look like that.
Right.
Show me your real face.
This is face.
Show me your real face right now. But it's the same for everything, because everything is so heavily edited and posed and da-da-da.
Yep.
And it's the same for OnlyFans content. It's the same for porn content.
Like, it's all staged.
And that's all that you're taking in. So when you're actually at the age when you're ready to have sex, about 7 years after you watch your first real porn video, you're like, I don't look like the ladies in the porn. I don't look like that. Is she sucking in the entire time?
How is she that flexible? I don't understand.
I don't think my vagina looks like that. And then you find out about labiaplasties and how it's very popular for porn stars. Yeah. So, like, I personally feel as if it's a bit plump.
Okay.
And then in most porn videos, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's just a hole. And I'm like, what is that? And they get surgery. They get plastic surgery to either like make everything perfectly symmetrical or make the lips smaller, or sometimes make the lips bigger. And like they design their own ready for camera vagina.
That's interesting. I wonder if that becomes like a personal decision, like they kind of like, oh, I don't like how it looks on camera, or is it like tailored to like
I think it's tailored to the standard, because here's my take, and it might be a bit of a hot take, and it might be a bit triggering. But I personally believe that all porn is basically skewed through a pedophilic gaze. I think like hairless women, completely hairless. A lot of the teen categories, it's like she's small, she doesn't have really any boobs or any curves, but you know, here she is, and she's very sexual and promiscuous. And now look at her vagina, small, no hair,
bald.
I'm like, the last time my vagina looked like that was when I was in elementary school.
Yep. We were kids.
We were kids. No puberty, no pubic hair, nothing. And it's interesting that most of the beauty standards are also very childlike outside of the porn industry. There are a lot of features right now that are desirable, because it's like if you mix more masculine features with like a little girl. Because, like, you still want this jawline, but then you want this really tiny nose. Yeah. And then you want this, but then you want, like, you know, the really sharp stomach and da-da-da-da-da. But then you're still supposed to be soft and wearing soft clothing and have your hair all, And then the makeup, it's all, like, heavy blush, freckles, fake freckles. Everyone's doing the cross-eyed thing. And I'm like, why?
Cross-eyed.
You know, the one where they're like...
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing?
Right? Or so I feel like innocence too is very like glamorized. Like, oh, good girl, blah blah. I feel like that's like when you're young and growing up. Like that's just you're innocent and
like
pure.
As soon as you turn like 13, 14, you're getting your period, you're going through puberty. Sorry, girl, it's not going to be hairless naturally ever again. And like, I don't know why it's so like sought after. And I also don't know why we give in to every single trend. Because if you look past through history, even if you look at paintings or like statues, like women, it used to be desirable for them to be bigger. Yep. And, you know, bigger hips, bigger breasts, bigger stomach, bigger everything. Because that means they were healthy, they were well taken care of, they had, you know, resources. And now it's like, I want you to look like a child, but I want you to be of age.
I want you to weigh less than the normal average weight of a woman. Weigh as much as you weighed in middle school.
I want you to waist train. Waist train.
Small waist.
Use like the video editing apps that make your waist smaller. And then people are like tearing you apart on TikTok being like, I can see the background moving. I can see a slant in the background. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like,
are you one of those people that like peeps it?
I be peeping.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm like, ain't no way you look like that.
Right?
Where do your organs go?
Right.
I'm like, where's your uterus?
I am the same
the
way.
little,
I zoom
the little
in.
thing of stomach that everyone's supposed to
It's
have.
a pouch. It's normal,
Yes,
right?
ma'am, it's a pouch. And I'm like, how did you get rid of that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that editing or did you get surgery? Where did it go?
Do you really work out abs every
you
day?
got it moved to your butt during your BBL. Crazy.
Or BBLs too. Like,
yeah, there's no in between. Either you're supposed to look like a child or you're supposed to look like just some hyper.
yeah. Like,
Every time I think about the beauty standards, I get so.
Yeah, I have
scared.
nothing against it, but like, as long as you're doing it for yourself and you're not trying to meet a certain standard or like tailor to a man.
If your boyfriend wants to get a BBL, don't.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get a BBL, get a BBL. But if someone else, even if they're not even actually in your life, even if it's a celebrity entity, don't get the BBL. Because guess what? I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like no one should really even get the surgeries. Because in 2 years, one, they're dangerous. Not a lot of science to back up a lot of the surgeries, especially like for sex organs, like penis surgery. I'll talk about it for the men too. Penis enlargement.
I saw a billboard for that the other day on my way back from San Antonio.
Not very safe. Not a lot of
crazy.
science. Not a lot of research going into it. But it's still a surgery that's offered. But also, the trend of this body type can easily be out of style in half a year.
Yeah, and long term.
And then you're stuck like that.
Exactly. Like,
and then you're looking through Vogue, you're scrolling on TikTok, and you're like, my old body type is the trend right now. And that's going to be devastating. I'm sure some people that don't have the money who went to the effort and then immediately was out of style. Because we went through like the BBL thing in earlier in the 2010s.
Yep.
And now we're back to more of like the skinny like
Tumblr girl. Tumblr girl's coming back.
Yeah. Like baby goddess.
Small
almost.
size, yeah.
I would call it like baby goddess because she's supposed to be some kind of like strong, muscular, but also very soft and innocent. It's like baby goddess is in.
It's interesting.
And the same standards are for the vagina. Baby goddess vagina.
Oh. It's a funny assortment of words. Baby goddess vagina.
I mean, it's true. And I mean, like, we can blame porn, but we also have to like hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
Because if, like, all at once we decided that we want bushes to be back in and we want to keep our vaginas the way they are, then guess what men are going to do? They're going to accept it because they still want to have sex.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you look back, it hasn't even been that long since that was the norm. Like, just whatever vagina you had was the vagina that you had, and everyone was like, okay. Okay.
Cool.
Like, up until the 80s, bushes were normal.
Yep.
And now it's like a bush is a fetish, even though it's like what you normally would have.
Yeah. It's a normal hair is normal.
Waxed down from the top all the way to the back is not normal.
Have you ever gotten a wax before?
No! And I don't plan on it necessarily. I don't want someone looking.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, all the acrobatics of, like, head, like, legs all the way up, and it's just some older woman just, like...
It's interesting. Yeah.
And there's so much prep, and then you can't do anything for, like, 2 days after because your skin will get irritated.
So sensitive.
And my skin just sucks in general. Yeah. I feel like even if I got waxed, like, my skin would still get upset, and I would still get, like, problems. And I don't want to, like, go through, like, the trauma of having to, like, show my whole hole to someone that I don't know. I'm like, I think I'd rather just shave occasionally.
Yeah, keep it trimmed.
But I'm not much of a bare girl.
See,
I feel like I'm a woman and I've earned the hair that I have on my body.
Yeah. Even then, waxing is a maintenance thing. Because the first time you wax, you're not going to get it all bald. Like, you're not going to get it all clean. So that's how they get you. I feel like the first time it's like, oh, you know, it's going to be a little patchy. But, like, don't shave it. You can't shave it. Your skin is super sensitive. So you're kind of inclined to keep going, to keep it bald or get bald, you know?
That's crazy. See? Yeah. It seems like too much for me. But, I mean, all of the feminine care is a huge commitment and a huge money commitment in general. Like, women, we can spend thousands and
Hair,
thousands of dollars,
nails, extensions,
in 1 year just for like self-care and like
masks,
hygiene,
massages.
And that's why we're gonna get into the pink tax.
The pink tax.
Because we're paying a bit more because of our very special friend.
And we don't even get like
better
equal
products.
pay. Yeah, better products.
Oh, we don't get
like,
equal pay either.
So we're charged more, and we're not even making in like
the same as our male counterparts.
Men. Exactly.
Yeah. So basically, for those of you that don't know, there is something called the pink tax, and it's for feminine products. And I'm not just saying like, you know, like douches like we talked about before, but obviously those are still pretty expensive. But I'm talking about female children's toys.
What?
Yeah.
Female children's toys
are like more expensive than
boy toys? I did not know that.
Would you like to hear some statistics?
Sure. Bring them out. Bring them out.
Okay, so there's a New York journal that went over all of like the gaps in between the cost of things catered for women and catered for men. So let's just find a little bit of that. Yeah, so I mean, I did some math previously, and women will spend $150 to $300 on period products alone in 1 year.
Sounds about right.
Sometimes more, obviously, sometimes less. I know that like Diva cups are in, like period panties are in. I personally do not want to use period panties.
Same.
And I personally am too scared of Diva cups.
Me too.
Something about like having to grab them
and
freaks me out. I feel like they're not as convenient for someone that's like out in public for a big majority of the time.
Yeah, because don't you have to clean them out?
Yeah, you have to dump them yourself. And then usually like you clean them by boiling them.
Yeah, that's inconvenient if you're like
And that's a lot, especially like if you live with people, like dorm people. I don't know how they did it.
Dorms?
I personally had a roommate that did use a Diva cup, and she would leave it in the shower, like the public shower before people used it, and it would just be a used Diva cup.
I don't know how sanitary that is.
It wasn't. I moved out halfway through the year.
That's why I left.
But I was like, I've always just been a period and pad girl.
Same.
I'll double down if I'm in public.
A tampon and pad?
And then if I'm at home, I'll probably just wear a pad.
Same.
Because, like, what's the point of having a tampon unless I'm like, I cannot handle.
And those are a little scary to use sometimes, too, because if you leave them in too long or fall asleep with one,
like
can't you get,
like, toxic shock. And, like, there's some, like, urban legends around that and, like, some myths. Like, usually, like, it might just throw off your pH and you might have, like, a weird smell. But it's not, like... The whole like leg coming off is pretty more of an urban legend.
That's so scary. One of my teachers in high school said that his like wife got toxic shock or something, that I don't know what happened, her body like froze or something. After that I was like,
I don't know.
I never.
Something about it doesn't seem as believable.
Right.
I feel like our bodies are pretty resilient and like an old piece of cotton is I'm like
it's harmless.
It would have to be long time. Like I think most common thing is to sleep in one. That's not going to do anything to your body. Really? I promise you, sleeping overnight in a tampon is completely normal and completely safe.
I did not know that. I've never slept with one.
Leaving a tampon in for a month is a different story.
Yeah.
But like 8 hours, girl, you can leave a tampon in for 8 to 10 hours. That's normal. I mean, most of them suggest that you can leave them in for that long. I think that's just another shaming women, freaking women out about their own bodies kind of thing. Because there's this whole discourse on men who don't let their wives or their girlfriends wear tampons because they think that women can get pleasure from putting a tampon in. Or having a tampon in. And I'm like, as soon as I put a tampon in and it didn't go in crooked or anything, she's not there until it's too full of blood. You don't feel it. And then if it gets to a point where it's too full or it's just too dry, it hurts. It doesn't feel good. I've never been like, ooh, yeah, I can't wait to put this tampon in.
Right?
I'm so aroused right now because of my tampon. If anything, I'm like, Jesus, here I go. I have to put another tampon in.
Hilarious.
But no, there's discourse where men will like secretly throw out their wives' tampons. And then she'll have to get more tampons. And then she'll hide them. And then he'll find them and he'll throw them out.
You know what's crazy? That reminds me, I had a friend in high school who had told me that, like, he asked me, like, how do you feel about like wearing tampons or something? And I was like, No, whatever. Who cares?
Necessary evil.
Yeah, he had an older sister, and he said that his parents didn't let her use tampons because it was like losing her virginity or something like that.
Yeah, that's another aspect of
What?
it. And I'm like, first of all, tampons like this big.
Yeah.
Tampon is this big.
Like, I don't know.
No one's getting pleasure from that, and no one is. I would never consider that to be a loss of virginity. I think it's just a sad excuse for like a father's wanting to police their daughter's bodies, which is another evil, twisted kind of lane.
Yeah,
it's a dark, dark lane, and like for men with their partners that say no tampons, again, policing bodies. You feel out of control. This is what you can control. You're gonna try and control it.
Why do men feel the need to have a say on our bodies? First of all,
because of the patriarchy system that's been intact for so long. We haven't had any vibes since we were gatherers.
Any vibes?
We have not had I haven't had a good vibe.
I mean,
obviously, like, there are plenty of men who are feminists or want to have more of an equal standing or, like, respectful. But usually those men aren't the ones that are in places of power, like positions of power.
Yeah.
So that's the real problem. But the people in power still think that a pink tax can be legal.
That's insane.
Even though it can cause us to spend about $4,000 a year on just hygiene products and stuff.
That's crazy. Well, they obviously, from what I'm hearing, it's probably just because of that reason. It's bringing them so much more revenue. They know we're going to need tampons and pads and stuff.
Of course. I mean, like, obviously, I'm pro, like, a lot of things should be free in life. A lot of necessities should be free, personally.
Like tampons, pads.
Someone's insulin.
Should be free. You know,
someone's
they didn't choose to
should be free. Like, think about how ridiculous it would be if guys had to bring toilet paper into public bathrooms. Mm-hmm. It would be done in 2 seconds. Toilet paper would be free for everybody if men had to start bringing their own toilet paper. But we have to, like, smuggle pads and tampons and cups and all this other stuff into the bathroom.
Yeah. And
it's an inconvenience. It can be awkward. You're in the middle of class. Someone might say something to you. It opens the doors for a lot of, like, harassment, even from teachers who'd be like, oh, why do you have to go? Oh, you're on your period? Periods usually shut people up really fast because still people don't want to talk about vaginas and what vaginas do, which is a blessing sometimes. Like, if you're just done, you're like, I'm on my period.
Yeah.
I'm on my period. And a male professor would be like,
okay, go ahead.
You said a period? You said a period?
He's like, I don't need to know. Go.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But
it's just a little blood.
It should be free.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, oh, but like sometimes people will steal them from bathrooms that they're supplied. And I'm like, have you considered that it's because they desperately need them?
Yeah. They probably
Have you considered that they desperately need them? And it might be women that have young girls who are also going through puberty and they need even more. Have you ever considered that some people don't have the luxury of buying their own pads and tampons in the store?
Or being able to stock up.
I'm like, I'm sorry. I think sometimes stealing is okay.
You heard it here first.
But here's some fun stats for the pink tax. So, products for female consumers are more likely to cost more. Girls' toys cost 55% more than boys.
Wow.
Clothing costs 40% more. Personal hygiene products cost 56% more. And healthcare products can cost 45% more. This is like the top, usually, like the max. And then even just a razor, a man's razor versus a woman's razor, does the same exact thing.
Yep.
The only difference, really, is that one is blue and one is pink. That's what you're going to find through the pink tax. Like anything that's like pink marketing for her marketing, it's going to be more expensive. But razors alone, it's 11%.
That's ridiculous.
And I know most girls have already gotten to the point where they're like, well, I buy men's razors anywhere. They're better quality. And let's think about this again with the pink tax. Lower quality, more money.
That's crazy. I did not think about that. I buy men's razors. And just that 5-blade action. Ooh.
Yeah.
Smooth legs.
So it's like, everyone might be like, well, girls need more products than men. And I'm like, it's perfectly fine if you want to use a 3-in-1 body wash.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine if you want to use the same one thing for your whole shebang.
No.
That's okay. To each their own.
Yeah, to each their own, you're right.
But I'm getting shampoo. I'm getting conditioner. I'm getting a body wash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a razor. I'm getting shaving cream. I'm getting face wash.
Yep.
Personally. And I think that's a norm, even for men
Yeah.
now. I think women bullied men out of the 3-in-1.
And into taking care of themselves.
I think Twitter kind of took care of the 3-in-1 body wash.
That was
the 3-in-1
hilarious.
body wash epidemic. I think that was finally put to rest.
Oh my gosh. If you use 3-in-1, I'm so sorry for you.
But, I mean, like, men deserve self-care too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't even know why they...
A lot of people argue, well, women are the only ones that are into this. I'm
No,
like,
it
I
should
can
be
actually
normal.
put my dad on blast right now. He loves a face mask. He loves a lotion. He loves a new product. If someone gets a new product, he's going to try it.
Yep, my dad loves a good Bath and Body Works
My
body
dad will
wash.
get his Burt's Bees lotion.
Right?
He'll get his he loves a good lavender scent. I'm like, that's normal. Everyone wants to feel comfy. Everyone wants to feel really clean and good about
Smell
themselves.
good,
Everyone wants to
yeah.
smell good. And I'm like,
It's
but why
normal.
are women the only ones that are punished?
Exactly.
Why are women the only ones that get really targeted for ads that, you know, advertise things that aren't the things that we should be using?
Because we're high maintenance.
We're high maintenance, then, like, you want to look like this. Your boyfriend, you'll accept him as he is. But if you step out of line, you're done. Your husband's going to divorce you if you don't use our Lysol douche.
Mm-hmm. There's someone else that takes care of themselves better than you. Or something, like,
Yeah.
you know,
There's
you're
a
not
girl.
perfect
There's a
enough.
girl in porn that looks so much better than you ever will. But don't look when she's off camera. She'll look normal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my.
That's crazy.
It's so weird. I can't. I don't know. We pay we pay for the pink tax in more than just money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we pay in, like, our self-esteem. We pay in our self-worth. Like, we're making tiny, tiny sacrifices all throughout our lives just to, like, look like something we think we're supposed to look like, when in reality we're supposed to look like ourselves.
Exactly.
In terms of the way our faces look, with the way our hair looks, the way our boobs look, the way our butts look, and the way our vaginas look.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you had when you were born is what suits you best, in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you taste fine. Vaginas, by the way, they do not taste like candy. They were never intended to taste like candy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it came from. I don't know where the whole, like, oh, you taste
Sweet.
You taste like sweet. I'm like, who said that? And have they ever been with a woman?
Mm.
And I hate to say it, I think one of, like, the big,
Say it.
like, one of the
Say
big
it.
causes of, like, this new, like, take on vaginas was kind of done by women in a way.
Okay.
Like girls.
Elaborate.
I don't even think they're women. I don't even know if most of these people are of age.
Uh-huh.
But, like, when we were growing up, like, Wattpad and, like, Archive of Our
Ooh.
Own and, like, all those little fanfic writing websites.
I use Wattpad.
It was a lot of girls our age and then women who were writing erotic stories.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the ones who were describing vaginas as, like, vaginas as, like, a sweet treat and how they looked and all of these specifics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of also ingrained the idea of what it's supposed to look, taste, smell like, feel like into our heads. When some of these people were virgins who were writing their own smut, and virgins were reading it, and everyone was like, yeah, this is sex. Yeah, this is vaginas. Yeah, these are penises. And no one's ever even tried it. No one's even ever had it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, everyone was just copying off of one other person.
Yeah.
Like, her center.
It was just like reading porn, but like romantic.
Yeah, but it was romantic,
Boring.
even though most of them were very toxic.
Yeah.
But I think that really had an impact on the vagina standard. Virgins writing about situations they haven't experienced yet.
Yeah. Just assuming what it's supposed to be like, or just like what sounds good in their head.
Yeah, I mean, the fan fiction is idealized anyway. Like, I'm like, I'm sorry, girl, Harry Styles
is never gonna do that.
He's not doing that. I'm like, after 1, 2, 3, and 4 movies, There's a reason they're not doing well.
He's not going to spot you in the crowded room and go up to you.
Like, I'm sorry that you shaved your entire body to go to the One Direction concert at the age of 11. But nothing was going to happen.
I was 14. I was so close. I was like, maybe they'll see me in the crowd.
Maybe you're reading a book in the crowd, so everyone thinks
you look different. They're going to be like, yeah, security, get that girl.
She's a reader.
She's educated. Come here, girl. What a time.
But I don't know. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I guess I did reach out to some of my girlfriends, and I asked them, like, what do you think it means to be a woman? And then we also talked a little bit about their insecurities. So a lot of them said just being a woman is feeling beautiful, empowered, sexy. Someone said, like, being able to make your own decisions and not having to ask others' opinions for it. And a lot of the insecurities kind of were the same. Like, they had the same red thread through them, I guess. It was a lot of body image, comparing yourself to others and feeling like you're not good enough or even not being taken serious. I felt like there was more conversation on insecurities than actual, like, embracing what it means to be a woman, you know? So I think that just says a lot about where we're at with everything.
I think, like, the real goal, I guess, for women who are watching or listening for the rest of Women's History Month, I think something that everyone should practice is just being kinder to ourselves and being more accepting of ourselves. Because, like, if you would never say it to, like, your best female friend, why do you say it to yourself?
Or to your mom?
All the day.
Grandma?
Like, why do you say it all day to yourself if you would never say it to someone else?
I think we're just so hard on ourselves, you know? Because there's this, like, stigma or expectation to be perfect, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like how we talked about this whole episode. A certain standard we have to meet in society.
A lot of sacrifices we have to make.
Yeah.
And I feel like all that, it's bullshit. And we should just love whatever we got.
Yeah. I think the best thing we can do as women is stand together, you know, instead of, like, being opposing or seeing each other as a threat. I think there's nothing more powerful than, like, women just supporting each other and being each other's, like, teammates, you know, instead of, like, oh, she's this and this and that, or she's an op, you know what I mean? It's like, girl, we need each other. Like, how is everyone else going to take us serious if we don't even, like each other?
If we'd rather villainize a woman rather than, like, going after the real issue, which is a man.
Exactly.
Like, when you get cheated on, you're so quick to, like, fight the girl in public. But let's really look at who actually betrayed us. Like, let's look at who actually owed us commitment and trust, and, you know. But we do it every time. We always go after the women. I don't know why we think men are so untouchable.
Yep.
But we're described as, like, you know, non-confrontational. And I think that definition was written by a man because, no one confronts men. In our own relationships, we'd sooner go after women. And I know I've probably been guilty of that before.
Yeah, me too.
But it's like, you know, it's easy to get angry.
Yeah.
But I think we should hold men accountable if they're going to try and hold us accountable. Like, the whole, like, take them to the pool on a first date.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, for the makeup and everything, yeah.
Oh,
take them swimming.
Okay.
Take them swimming on our first date so you can see what they actually look like, stuff like that. And I'm like,
take me, boy. I got that setting spray. This mascara's waterproof.
I don't know. I'm like, I feel like men can get so angry about our appearances and stuff because they wish that they could do the same thing. But I'm like, the only people who are really going to judge you are other men.
Yep.
It's a male issue. Like, if they felt like they could have the freedom to do all the self-care or, like, fashion trends or, like, if they wanted to put on makeup, if they had a bad skin day, then I think that the pressures on women would start to just go away. I think it has to do with some kind of internalized jealousy that they don't see. Because I'm like, if men are losing hair young, I'm all for them doing the little thing where they shave it and they put like the little glue or whatever on like the fake hair and then they give them a full new haircut. All for it.
Oh, right.
All for it. Big fan. I love to watch those videos on TikTok. I think men should get as many opportunities for self-care and, you know, beauty, like beauty care. I don't know.
Yeah, even dressing up. Have you seen that men are starting to be more confident in like their fashion and layer with jewelry? I think
everyone almost
some paint their
like
nails.
has a big urge to just be androgynous. I think a lot of people want to like lean towards the middle.
Yeah.
And it's acceptable for women no matter what, but it's harder for men. And I feel like if we can't help men through some of their insecurities and some of their fears in terms of judgment, then we're not going to be able to escape our judgment.
I agree. That's another conversation.
But as a closing remark, your vagina is perfect. Your appearance is perfect. You smell fine. You taste fine. It's a normal body part. It's the same as any other body part that you have. Love yourself. Accept yourself. Love others. Be kind to others. Most of all, be kind to yourself. It's hard to be kind to others when you're not kind to yourself. And happy Women's Month.
Yes, like Bruno Mars said, I hope I don't butcher the lyric, but he was like, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. Yes. Acapella.
Bye. Beautiful. Happy Women's History Month.